Hello and welcome to our new show. My name is Red. We lied. We're watching Blazar. Fuck you.
Fuck Ultra Q.
Yeah, fuck Ultra Q. Fuck the Q.
This Ultra stack now.
We're floating the idea of calling this skipping the Q because that's funny. My name is Red. I am joined by Mel.
Yeah. What if instead of changing society, humanity instead blame the beasts?
I guess. Is there a guilty gear connection I'm not aware of in Ultraman Blazar?
This was just a bullshit blazing joke.
Oh, yes. No, that does make sense. It makes sense now.
That was a sidewinder of
It was.
That took some brain power.
Unfortunately,
that's
we're not
a different show.
Brain power.
True.
Yeah. I'm also joined by Razin.
Yes, the world's first Halo jump.
Oh, shut the fuck up. Yes. It's also okay. So we have a show called Ultra Q where we're watching Ultraman in order. However, the new Ultraman show looked really cool, and we started with Shin Ultraman anyway. So we figured there's precedent for just not really caring that much about release order if what we want to watch looks really cool and it's coming out right now.
There are two timelines: the modern Ultra Q timeline and the classic Ultra Q timeline.
This is how I have figured out that I'm eventually going to get through Precure is if I just watch if I continue to watch old Precures and just keep up with modern Precure, then they won't be able to make more Precure than I can watch.
Yeah. Also, like, let's be real. If we didn't watch this now, it would have taken us like a decade to get, which is also part of the reason.
Yes. So Mel, also previous Ultraman fan, it would have been incredibly cruel to punish her for starting an Ultraman podcast by saying, no, you can't watch the new thing that everyone's talking about on Twitter every week.
It's not as bad as G-Witch situation, but following Ultraman fans, it's, the shit popping off.
So we watched the new Ultraman show. We watched Blazar.
Yeah.
The first episode.
Yeah. Maybe we should.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. I was just saying. Well, one, this may be some people's first time listening to the podcast, but you know. Oh,
I'm sorry I yelled "fuck you" at you at the beginning.
That's fine.
This is accurate to the vibe of our show.
Yeah. No, welcome. Come on in. Yeah,
we're going.
Wait till you hear my Pigmon.
But also, you know, there's like helps to mention that there's also like we're also kind of doing this because they explicitly said they're not doing legacy stuff, and it's a good standalone season. They're really trying to push it as like a good, comfortable entry for people, so it probably helps. Like if this was like last year's season, which is way more into legacy stuff, it'd probably be harder to actually do this.
Yeah, Super Raya Productions really knocking it out of the park lately. Into like they know what they have. They know they have a new like they had a movie, and they've got a big audience overseas that they're catering to, and they're just like, well, let's make a new show that you don't have to watch a million other things to get, and let's put episode 1 on YouTube with like subs in 10 different languages, with the languages being like where we have all our fans. Like I saw Spanish open parentheses, Latin America close parentheses. I was like, they know. they know who their fans are.
And also a full-on English dub as a second soundtrack, or like second audio track if you want to listen to that too.
So just some brief setting the stage here a bit for historical context. This is the part where Red edits in the library theme from Symphony of the Night.
Oh God! Now I have to.
I'm sorry. Just the past 10 years of Ultraman have kind of been called the New Generation era, which is when Ultraman came off the air after another hiatus This one usually has been kind of trademarked by like more serialized stories, shorter runtimes where it's like half a year instead of a full year. More toyetic because like Bandai has a bigger stake in Super Eye Productions now. And also just like a more slow increasing usage of like leveraging the legacy lore stuff in like Ultraman powers and like the plot stuff. So like comparing with a few years back, they had a similar push with Ultraman Z, where there's like, this is the first show we're simulcasting on our YouTube channel with subs, and incidentally, that show also got a dub recently in the past year in the lead up to Blazar. But like while that show was kind of like in some ways good and standalone, it also had a lot of legacy stuff where like, oh man, he has more legacy based forms. Also, there's like recurring guys from previous shows coming in, and I watched it with a friend of mine. I he liked the show, but also I was talking about it just like in the past week, and he was like, yeah, that stuff did make it a bit unapproachable comparatively. So the president of the company was like, shit, maybe we should not do this. And Blazar seems to be their big push to try and do something more standalone and bolder and different. And it probably helps that like Ultraman's doing pretty well financially at the moment. Apparently the sales of Ultraman have doubled between 2021 and 2022. And also for whatever reason, Ultraman toys are like the number one toy sales in China, surpassing Disney, which is pretty nuts. So I think the show has some money behind it too, which is where some of the bolder risk taking is coming.
I can tell there's some money behind it.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of modern comparisons, but from what I have seen, it looks good.
Yeah. I will also just note light production stuff. The director is Kiyotaka Taguchi, who at this point is a bit of a modern era Ultraman veteran, because he's also director for Ultraman X, Ultraman Orb, and Ultraman Z, the aforementioned show. And the writer for the show is Keigo Koyanagi, who hasn't really done as much writing before, but he was also on Ultraman Z as like a quote-unquote military advisor, ?
Okay.
Influence is very strongly felt in this first episode.
Yes. Not to like get into our discussion. Well, I guess we're transitioning to our discussion. We haven't really got much of the main cast yet, besides our protagonist, Gento Hiruma, who's played by Tomoya Harabino, who Kamen Rider fans might recognize as Heart from Kamen Rider Drive. And it is notable that they made a point in like the pre-release stuff that this protagonist is like the first time that like the Ultraman host is the captain of a defense team rather than just being like one of the guys on the team.
That's cool.
Yeah. Personally, I don't think I want Muramatsu in Ultraman form, but
yeah. What if Ultraman himself was just like an open misogynist?
That gives the name Ultraman a whole new meaning in a bad way.
Oh no!
But yeah, that's all I really got, because most of the other stuff is like won't be relevant until future episodes. We can talk about it as we go along.
Yeah, so I haven't written an episode summary or anything because it's one episode of a Toku show that I presume people, if anyone is listening to this, they've watched it. So please, I don't know why you wouldn't. It's very easy to watch it. It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
But
also the dub, Johnny Young Bosch voices the protagonist.
Oh shit! Really? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah. I skimmed it. Like, I didn't watch the full dub. I feel like some of the side character dub voices could have been better in terms of delivery. But, I think...
the video
a little bit dub voice.
The video starts on the English dub, or at least it did for me. And, like, you hear some side people, like, on the team or whatever, having a little bit of banter. And I was like, okay, no, I'm sure this is fine for plenty of people, but I'm just going to stick to the original audio track.
Yeah, it's not for me, but I also do appreciate they put in the effort. It's probably good for some people. And I think,
also too, it's one of those things where, like, this is a show that is very heavily obviously skewed for kids too, and if they're wanting to reach a larger international audience in that demographic, like, having like stuff like a dub or whatever is going to be important for that. So I totally get why they're doing it.
Yeah. Plus, I think that Johnny Young Bosch does a pretty good job with Gento, just based on myself. So. I mean, he's been doing this for a while. I think he knows what he's doing.
Speaking of Gento, who is Gento? Gento is our hero. He is the captain of the mobile team for some kind of defense force. Possibly the JSDF, possibly some named thing like the SSSP or the Ultra Guard or whatever. But he's looking at previews, it seems like he's going to be making the Ultra Guard next week or something.
That's my impression too.
But this week he's doing Transformers Dark Side of the Moon shit, jumping out of helicopters and fighting giant monsters with just guns and rockets.
They have hand jetpacks. I think we need to mention
they have hand jetpacks things.
Yeah.
I believe these are based on real jetpack things.
Oh my god.
Like it's a like
someone's been doing some military advising.
Yeah, I don't know that they are like actual military equipment, but there's obviously there's always people out there trying to invent jetpacks. I believe I have seen these little hand things that are used for like directional stuff on YouTube somewhere at some point. They seem familiar.
They seem more effective than like Muramatsu and Ide just like propelling oxygen out of the back of their backpacks.
Sometimes
this is where that jetpack guy that's been bothering the airport at Los Angeles. This is where he came from. Got one of these bad boys. There's
a jetpack guy bothering people at an airport in America?
The last few years at LAX, there have been reports of a jetpack guy that keeps delaying flights. It seems like it's probably just like a drone in the shape of a man some asshole has been piloting, but it's kind of funny, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Well, he's not out here fighting giant monsters that can shoot like spine things from their hands.
Shoots like spines that come out like fucking Toho lasers.
Yes. And Gento's out here doing that. And he's like a tactical whiz.
He's got like the fucking see every timeline tactic vision.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has it's not Mind Palace exactly, but it's tangent to that.
Mm-hmm. He's running simulations in his brain. And picking out the plan that's going to work, that's going to keep everyone alive. He's like I'm going to bring everyone back. He's the big hero. And unfortunately their weapons don't really work against the monster, but something does work. The sick thing that attaches to his hand, and he's got like a child's toy that turns him into Ultraman. And this if you're not familiar with what we've seen, we have seen Ultra Q, which doesn't have Ultraman in it, and we have seen Ultraman. That's it. And we've also seen
Shin Ultraman.
We've also seen Shin Ultraman. And as of very recently, 3
So,
episodes.
caveat:
of Ultra
I have seen more, but not for the sake purpose of the podcast and
oh yes,
my other 2 co-hosts.
Yeah. Me and Red have seen what Red has described.
This podcast, as a 4th separate entity from all 3 of us, has seen those things. So this Ultraman looks very different and does not behave at all like Ultraman.
Yeah, he's the creature.
Yeah, he's like doing a lot of yelling and screaming and like he climbs up buildings for a bit. He does a lot of stomping.
Yeah, he just climbs up a building and drop kicks it.
Yeah, that's I love the drop kick. The drop kick's good.
The drop kick was good.
The main thing that I noticed is this is Ultraman real step down in terms of like on reflection now watching this episode. Ultraman, the original show, stepped down in terms of making things feel big. Because this makes things feel big in a way that Ultraman just didn't very often.
Well, that's because in Ultraman, so many times they cut away to that one stage they had that was just like in the mountains.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like it kind of was there, but not really. Whereas this is just in a whole ass city with buildings getting demolished.
Yeah, and I will say that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Definitely like more recent Ultra stuff. I say more recent, but I say basically since like definitely in like past in the new gen era, but also there's definitely stuff in like the 90s and 2000s too, where they just have fights in the city, which definitely helps. We just didn't get a lot in the original, and I'm curious to see when in the show era we'll get to that stuff. But yeah. Having this fight in the city is really, good at selling the scale.
It's very I realized
he climbs the building and then after pushing him back up.
I realize that I have the order of operations wrong here when I say that them standing off in the city does look very Evangelion episode 2. I realize that is not the order that things go in. It's Ultraman. Hideaki Anno likes Ultraman a lot, and that's why Evangelion is what it is. But it's a good. It just looks good. It's lots of just like cameras looking up at them, yeah. I love the first shot in his transformed state where it's just like him peeking from behind a building. Yes. And it looks so ominous. I love it.
Yeah, because he's like, he gets the Blazar transformation when like a building is dropping on him, and like he transforms and pushes the building back up.
The fact that Ultraman looks a little unnerving is good. I like him alien.
Yeah. I think it's interesting just like the contrast between like Gento being like the tactics wizard guy and then Blazar being like that.
Mm-hmm. There is so continuing the trend of raising questions about the duality of the Ultraman and the host. There's a bit in here where Blazar is like does like a fighting pose and then glances down at his hands like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
Which is real like mix of who's in control.
Yeah. There's also a good bit where like Blazar notices like one of the soldiers behind him and then like starts being like aggressive, yelling and gesturing in like the way like an animal would like try and scare off a predator from its young kind of thing, which I think is interesting too.
Yeah.
And then it goes apeshit.
Yeah. Tears off
fucking tears off their arms. The monster's called
still kind of murderous.
Yeah. The monster's called Bazanga, by the way.
So
Bazanga.
I was sat here like, I remember that the monster's name was funny, but I don't remember what it was. But yes, it's called Bazanga, and I was like, oh no.
It's so fucking funny seeing this very serious like VTOL, like all the soldiers nervously flying into combat, and they're like, yeah, there's a monster attacking the city, codenamed Bazanga.
It's like, yes, I love this.
Listen,
Modern kaiju is fucking here, baby.
I mean, I think it'd be equally funny if they were like, "Oh man, this city's getting attacked by Chandler."
Absolutely.
I was thinking about modern Godzilla, and thinking about the fact that Ultraman, I guess Sentai also has this, but I'm not sure how much of this is like Sentai's focus. Ultraman might be like one of the main place that you can still go to see big monsters fucking up a city.
Yeah, I mean, Sentai has it, but I also feel like it's kind of like
Supplemental.
It's supplemental, and it isn't like it's definitely Super Raya is good at this because it's the point of their show, and whereas I think like Toei is like it's ancillary. It's like it's still core for like what Sentai is. It's like makes Sentai what it is, but I don't think they're as like good at it. And I think like recent seasons have been a bit better about making the mecha fights cooler. Like King Oger has been pretty decent about that, but doesn't necessarily mean that like they're on the level as like Super Raya is in terms of like having a giant monster fight be effective.
It's I guess it's their identity. They have to be good at it. If they're not good at it, what's the point?
Yeah.
So yeah. The end of the episode, Ultraman Blazar destroys Bazanga, and with
he pulls a fucking spear out of a black hole.
Yeah, pulls fucking Ultraman version of Gungnir or whatever, or like a Zeus lightning bolt, and just obliterates Bazanga with it, and then flies away. And then Gento wakes up. Let's go! We've got the weird respawning shit back.
Yeah, I like some other notes that say like when Blazar flies away and like you have like the asymmetric trail behind it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I love how they lean into that with like the design is asymmetrical in a cool way. He has like the flare like left. I want to say it's like his left side like eye is that blue flame.
Yeah.
And the way they light up that and do the effects with like the red and the blue lighting up on the suit looks really good.
Yeah. Also, there's just a girl who has like a rocket launcher in jorts for some reason. I don't know.
Yep, she's just out here in jorts. That's her name. She's jorts.
I feel like my assumption is we'll see her again at some point.
Oh, absolutely.
She's character. She's a character. She's gonna be in the Ultra Guard, whatever they have.
Yeah. I think some other things to note. They do mention that like, oh, Gento's just did this before 3 years ago. He just dove in. Might be important in the future.
Yeah.
And also they mention that like Ultraman is like a known entity, like not in the sense of like
astronauts talk about him. Is the line.
In a sense of it, like they don't know, like they don't really know him, but like he's like a cryptid that they have seen.
Yeah,
before,
he's like a mythical force almost.
He's space Bigfoot.
I admit when I first like heard that, I was like, my first gustation was like, hold on, I thought this was gonna be a standalone thing. But then it was like, oh no, they gave good explanation where it's just like, oh no, he's just like in this universe, some weird shit's going on. I think like what the fuck Ultraman is in this show is like part of the mystery, which is going to be interesting, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do we have anything more to say about Ultraman?
Yeah, I mean, we already kind of touched on it, but I did laugh when I saw him pull out like the little like hand watch thing that he uses to transform. It's like, oh hell yeah, modern Toku like toyetic stuff.
That is
100%
that is something
here.
I can buy.
Yeah, that is a fucking that's in the Walmart whatever section.
Oh yeah.
It didn't like it doesn't bother me. I've just kind of learned to like turn my brain off of that stuff or whatever. Like obviously I prefer it wouldn't be there like some of the older stuff that I've watched, but like they gotta like that's why these shows exist in a lot of ways too, right? Is to sell that shit. The other thing, I like that Ultraman Blazar screams.
Yeah.
I don't know if I actually am sold on the actual scream sound effect quite yet.
I think it's funny. I think it's good. I like it.
I wish it didn't go on as long as it did. I think it would be more effective. He just keeps going.
Yeah, I think I can see that. I do think like when it's like in a scene where like maybe it's like Blazar's deliberately trying to scare off the monster in a different direction, it kind of works a bit better rather than just like, if you know what I mean. I don't know. That sentence is incomplete, but you know.
Yeah.
One Ultraman that goes yeah like Link. I don't know why I said that. It's not actually, that is just came out to my brain. Stream of consciousness podcast.
Yeah.
I have been recording for less than half an hour. I'm already stumbling over words. What are we doing? What am I doing?
I don't know.
Blazing.
Yeah.
Red, you have to go and do your little meditation future visions to see how all the ways the podcast can go and then choose the most optimal route.
I do. I'm always doing this.
Technically, they already did this before we started recording.
Yeah, and I pick the chaos every time.
Damn.
I pick the route that takes me to talking about Thunderbirds every time. Is the secret?
Oh shit!
Yeah, that's true.
We've been had.
So yeah, Ultraman Blazar was good.
Yeah. You know, I have one more thing.
Go ahead.
Because you know, I don't know what our podcast is going to like in 10 years when we eventually catch back up to this show. So I thought I'd do my due diligence.
Do we have to say the word 10 years?
Listen, I also age a billion years when I look at the shit sheet and go, oh fuck, how are we going to do this show? Anyway, the important thing, I have color timer.
Oh shit!
Yes, let's go because it matters now.
He does beep.
So this was a little finicky because I had to take into account ads. So I had to do some math. But it's fine. I will say this is definitely our longest one yet in the history of this podcast. Cause 7 minutes 56 seconds.
Damn.
What, that he's transformed? Damn.
Yes. Well, actually, well, I'll get into it in our Also 7 podcast. There may be like some asterisks there, but yeah.
Okay. Damn. Blazar, truly pushing the boundaries.
True. I want a model kit of this thing. I know that this will happen soon, if it has not already happened.
Yeah.
But
it'll be interesting to see, as we get further along in the podcast too, what shows like Blazar is kind of maybe harkening back to a bit in terms of like its style, even though I'd say like Blazar's still obviously doing its own thing and isn't doing a callback thing, but like they're echoes of stuff that like Ultra has done before. I won't say specifics though, because you know part of the fun is surprising you both.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm liking it so far. It was not what I expect. Honestly, I didn't know what to expect going into it, but a lot more gritty, like hard sci-fi, like military otaku than I was expecting.
Yeah, and it probably helps like having like the writer who he is.
Yeah,
but I mean, like there are shades of this in like some Z as well. But you know, what was I gonna say? Yeah,
what
I mean, this episode was in some ways a kind of episode 0 anyway, more than like, because this episode is the fight scene, and there isn't much else. We get introduced to Gento. We get Gento as a character a bit. We get shown who the fuck our hero is, but otherwise there isn't much. We get glimpses of like maybe the world. We get some sense that maybe the top brass doesn't give a shit about the soldiers a bit, but you know. There's all good stuff that I'm sure we'll like see more of next week when like you know he's assembling the team.
Should get Trey's on the case. He'll look after the soldiers.
Trey's gang in the Ultraman universe.
Remember the time you just fucking murdered that bird?
Gotta be honest, I don't remember a lot of Wing.
He almost let that child drown. He was like, no, wait, let's see. What a guy. What a king. All right. Now that we're talking about trays, I think we can say that's probably us done talking about Blazar. Half an hour. That's good.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Podcast. Yeah. This is going to be, like I said, this is going to be separate from Ultra Q, which is just because, we don't want to put that in with Ultra 7 because that just makes it complicated. That just makes
we don't want to force people to go on the sandwich route that we're taking with Ultraman if they don't want to. It should be opt-in.
Because there's a separate audit.
Sure. Now that I said sure, I guess I need to start. Fuck.
Yeah, go for
it. Hi, I'm Rosenbrand. I make YouTube videos. You can find me at YouTube at Rosenbrand. That's RASEN space BRAN. And also my Twitter at Rosenbrand. No space in between.
Mel.
Okay. I'm at Dear Crowns on Twitter. We have a podcast email that's ultraqpod@gmail.com. But we also now have a YouTube channel. That's
we do.
Ultra Q. I've also set up a coffee for podcast tip jar for the purpose of media acquisition, subtitle stuff, which I think some of the stuff I'll just put in the description because they're all linked, our socials and Twitter stuff, which leads me to Red.
So if you want to first of all, if you want to follow me, I'm at gender_redacted on Twitter. If you want to follow the podcast on Twitter, it is at ultra_q. That is at ultra_QUEUE. We're about to start for our main show. We're literally about to record our first episode on Ultra 7. We watched the first 3 episodes of that.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is Hayata? That'll be out on Thursday. We'll be watching Blazar every week because it seems good.
Yeah.
That's all the reason we need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did his eye thing remind anyone else of Sans Undertale?
No. Shut the fuck up. Okay, we gotta get out of here.
He's Ultra Sans. Fuck. Alright, bye-bye.
Ultra Lithuania.